Mike, as I look at all these mock drafts, I haven't seen it this fluid since, I want to go back to the year Bennett went one. And the reason it's fluid is because there's not one guy. So how team dependent is it going to be in terms of who goes where at the very top, do you think?
Extremely. I think this is a need-based draft, a fit-based draft. You know, if it's the New York Knicks, maybe you're looking at a LaMelo Ball, 6'7" point guard who's filled with creativity and really has the most star potential and upside in this draft. Whereas if you're the Warriors, maybe it's a big, maybe it's a guy like James Wiseman who can be a DeAndre Jordan type for a Klay Thompson, for a Steph Curry, for a Draymond Green. So it's really going to come down to who has that pick. Now, I think there are three guys with really the most star swing potential, and those guys are LaMelo Ball, Anthony Edwards, and James Wiseman. Now, if you would have asked me like a year ago, if I would have said LaMelo Ball was in the mix for the #1 pick, I would have said you're joking. I would have said there's no way. I was out in Lithuania. I was at the practices. I was at the games. I was around the BBB cameras. And it was a joke. It was a complete mess. And now the kid, he's grown to 6'7". He's matured, and he's really started to buy in. And so, you know, to me, he has the most star potential out of all these guys. He's the one that I would take #1, regardless of fit, regardless of team. But when you go down the line, I think Anthony Edwards, I think James Wiseman, those type of players, you really have to look at fit and your team needs and your team timeline.
How concerned are teams about the impact of the layoff? Basketball is like, it's not a baseball thing where you got to play games every day, but most guys that play they're in there getting shots up. I mean, it's a rhythm kind of a thing. Like, what's the concern there?
There's some concern, no question. I mean, if you look at James Wiseman, it's going to be over a year since he played a competitive basketball game. You know, he only played the 3 games at Memphis. Right. You look at LaMelo Ball, his season ended early because of the injury in Australia, played only 12 games. Going to be over a year for him, too. So that's why I think, you know, teams might feel a little bit more comfortable with an Obi Toppin, you know, a guy who's done it at a high level, a Tyrese Halliburton, even a freshman like an Onyeka Okongwu, you know, who's very, very steady and you know what you're getting. And, you know, a Deni Avdija, this is a kid who's played over 350 minutes in the EuroLeague, the second best league in the world, and he's still playing now. So it definitely is a concern, and I think, you know, teams are really using this time in different ways. You know, some teams are afraid of burning their scouts out because we still have, you know, 4 months till draft night. So some of them are saying, hey, take 10 days off. You know, the other teams are saying, hey, let's focus on 2021 because this is a loaded draft. This could be one of the best drafts we've seen in the last 5-10 years, but it's going to be the least scouted draft since the one-and-done era was put in. So it's a very strange time for all of us. You know, I know players are trying to stay fresh. I talked to Cassius Winston the other day, and he's in East Lansing working out with a manager and his brother. And then you have, on the other side of the coin, a guy like Tyrese Maxey out of Kentucky who's getting shots up with LeBron. You know, so each guy's situation is different. And, you know, I just hope that they can all come together and be ready and stay healthy because this is clearly a moment they've been waiting for their entire lives.
A guy that you mentioned a moment ago, Avdija, playing as Israel's back playing basketball, he's got the stage to himself. Is this the kind of situation where an experienced guy playing in a high-level league could really benefit from some just recency bias? And if he opens some eyes, maybe people just kind of reach because he's the guy they saw last.
No question. And at the very least, he's going to get some brownie points, okay? Because most guys right now are in a gym posting Instagram videos. And this kid, mid-COVID, he didn't shut it down. He didn't come to L.A. and get his shots up and get his likes. No, he's playing. He's playing real minutes with good players, with Quincy Acey, who played in the NBA, with Scottie Wilbekin, who's one of the best players in all of Europe, with Amari Stoudemire, you know, a little bit toward the end of his career, but the former All-Star. He's playing with good players at a high level. He's already scored, I believe, 45 points in 41 minutes in the last 2 games that he's played since the return. He's shooting 50% from 3, 90% from the free throw line. So, yeah, scouts know him. You know, international scouts know him. Executives know him. But head coaches, owners, they haven't seen him. And so this is a chance for them to really study and really watch. And, you know, he really could cement himself as a potential top 5 pick. And he's one of my favorite prospects in this draft.
This is a year where some front office is either going to be really, really sharp and have intel no one else has, or they're going to get really bleeping lucky because they're going to grab somebody and they're going to guess right. I'm not asking you to guess because you know how much I respect the work you put in and your opinion. If I'm asking you, Schmitz stakes his rep on this guy in this draft. Give me a guy.
Leandro Bolmaro, okay? I love this kid. I love everything he's about. He's Argentinian, plays with that similar flair that you saw from a Manu Ginobili, from a Luis Scola. Now, he's not going to be Manu Ginobili, okay? Manu Ginobili's a Hall of Famer, right? We don't want to put him in that light. You know, he's probably a mid to late first-round pick, but 6'7" playmaker, can pass it with either hand, plays as hard as any prospect in this draft. He picks up 94 feet. He's been playing in Barcelona, and he's another name who's also returned to play. You know, he had 11 points and 3 assists in today's game playing in the ACB. So he's playing at a high level. He's done it alongside a guy like Nikola Mirotic, alongside an Alex Sabrinas. So he's been in a professional atmosphere, and I just love his motor. I love his moxie. It's maybe not going to be next year, but I think in 2, 3, 4 years, people are going to say, man, why did Bolmaro go that low?
You just staked your reputation on a guy that you're saying is a draft and stash for a few years down the line. To me, what that says is that there's nobody at the top of this draft that you think is a sure thing. Is that an accurate read?
Yeah, there are some sure things, okay? There are sure things to be really good starters. There are some guys who project as really good starters who could become all-stars, right? The way I look at the top is this, okay? You have the 3 swing prospects. You have what I said, the LaMelo Ball, you have the Anthony Edwards, and you have James Wiseman. If it hits, those guys are all-stars for a long time. And then you have kind of the safe high-floor prospects with Onyeka Okongwu, Isaac Okoro, Danny Avdia, Obi Toppin, and Tyrese Halliburton out of Iowa State. So I would bet on a lot of those guys being really, really good players.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.